So we're coming up on 3 months with the Galaxy Watch 4 Classic, and I want to just give you guys a quick follow-up, let you know how the watch is holding up, some of the things that I still love, things that I didn't think I would love that I'm loving now, and obviously some of the things that I'm finding more and more that I still have a problem with this particular smartwatch. But before we get into the video, if this is your first time stopping by the channel, this is Ike'sTechTalk, where we cover the latest in tech news, reviews, and discussion. If that's something that you're interested in, do yourself a favor, hit that like and subscribe button down below. And with that being said, let's get into the follow-up. So getting right into it, I want to go ahead and talk about durability first. Now, I didn't necessarily have any concerns in terms of how the watch would necessarily hold up over time. I was a little bit nervous if I would have to worry about, say, like the bezel or the screen scratching or just whatever the case may be, because I don't wear my smartwatches with any type of cases or anything like that. It's honestly just not my style. But I can say through numerous bumps, knocks up against doors, car doors, metal doors, wooden doors, pretty much everything, and even one pretty nasty drop when I actually had one of my kids go and grab my watch off of my dresser. My Galaxy Watch 4 Classic held up perfectly, and still to this day I can't see any micro scratches, little mini abrasions, anything like that. The watch still looks mint condition, brand new. Now when it comes to that screen, I'm used to seeing at least some little scratches by this time. I have a few on my Apple Watch and a few on the TicWatch Pro 3 that I also have, but the main difference that I think comes into play with the Galaxy Watch 4 is how deep the screen is with the bezels surrounding it. So if you take a look at the watch, you'll see that the screen is kind of hollowed in to where the rotating bezel is pretty far. So if you were to drop it and it land face down on the watch face side, it's more likely going to hit the bezels rather than the actual screen. I know a lot of people looked at this design and kind of thought it looked bulky or whatever the case may be, but I can honestly say that having that bezel has definitely saved my screen from being, too scratched up, whether it be little mini micro scratches or from that one major drop that I told you guys about. So just having that bezel has added some additional kind of durability to the equation that I honestly wasn't expecting beforehand. Next up, I want to get into battery, because this was an area that I was left a little bit disappointed in my initial review of the Galaxy Watch 4. Now, it still charges extremely slow, normally about 2.5 hours to fully charge the watch. I'm normally only charging it once a day overnight, so it's not too big of a deal, but I would love to see them increase that charging speed just in case you forget to, say, charge your watch overnight and you just need kind of that quick top off before running out for your day or whatever the case may be. But the actual battery itself has gotten dramatically better than where it was when I first got the watch. Now, we've gotten, I would say, about 2 to 3 updates on the Galaxy Watch 4 since it came out. And in the first update, I didn't see too much of a change, but the last update that we just received, I saw a dramatic change in how long the battery was lasting. Originally, I was getting about a day and a half just at that 2-day mark. Now I'm comfortably getting 2 days and almost making it to that 3rd day. Now, I will let you guys know right up front, I don't normally use an always on display on my watches just because I'm not trying to check for glanceable information on my watch all that often. I'll just lift it up and the watch turns on with no issue. But even with turning always on display on just for testing purposes, I noticed that there was a significant increase to the battery life. Now, how long that is, I can't say for sure just because, again, I don't use that feature regularly. But when looking at always on display off, I've noticed the watch dramatically improve its battery life. Now, I would still love to see it land somewhere where the TicWatch Pro 3 currently is at about 3 days and having to charge that 3rd day's night. But having that 2, almost 3 days is definitely good. It's always good to see manufacturers drop out software updates to improve the current device that you have. So I'd rather it go forward in terms of me getting better battery life than Samsung pushing out an update and me going backwards and getting worse battery life. And then the last thing that I want to cover here in terms of things that I still love or found improved has to be the native support for Google applications. Now, when the watch first came out, we knew that these native apps would be supported for the Galaxy Watch 4 because it's running Wear OS 3, but I didn't know just how much of an impact it would make on me specifically. I always use Google services over whatever their Android counterparts may be, no matter what device I'm using. But having maps natively on the watch so I can say, leave my phone in the car on a hike and just use my watch for GPS, or having Google Messages directly on my watch and not having to worry about looking for a third-party solution or whatever the case may be, has been amazing. Now, in terms of the application support, we're still seeing a lot of developers kind of taking their time. Take the My Chevrolet app, for example. It's an app that I use on my Apple Watch to start my car. Well, with the Wear OS side, developers are still moving a little bit slow. Maybe they have some PTSD from when Google kind of just sidelined the entire Wear OS project previously, so they're kind of a little bit more hesitant to kind of go, head first in designing apps. But those hopefully will come with time. But I can at least say having those core native Google apps has been fantastic on this particular watch. Now I just want to kind of switch gears and cover two of the things that, in my opinion, are still like drastic things that kind of need to be updated or still haven't been looked at. And this is the biggest thing that frustrates me the absolute most about this watch, and it has to be the continued lack of the Google Assistant. I don't know why the Google Assistant is still not on this watch almost 3 months later. I don't know if it's a Samsung issue, if it's a Google issue. I honestly don't know at this point, but I want them to fix it. I want Google Assistant on this watch. Having the option to use either Bixby or Google Assistant is only looked at as a benefit, especially being as though nobody's really going to use Bixby once Google Assistant is available. Maybe that's the reason why Samsung hasn't added it yet. But either way, that is the one feature that I'm feeling like is truly missing from this smartwatch to really take it to the next level. Now, that's not to say that Bixby is necessarily terrible or trash. It's obviously not as good as Google Assistant, but it can get some of the basics down and get them done extremely fast. Just the normal stuff like setting a timer or a reminder or call this person, things like that. But for those more contextual based conversations that you can have with Google Assistant, it's honestly not even worth trying to do that with Bixby on the Galaxy Watch 4. It's just not good enough. So like I said, I don't know if it's a situation where Samsung is trying to make Galaxy Watch 4 users give it some time to get used to Bixby. If we're waiting for Google to bake in the Google Assistant, I have no idea, but I would say coming from using something like the TicWatch Pro 3 on Wear OS 2 and having, instant access to the Google Assistant on my wrist was so powerful. I felt like I had to reach for my phone significantly less. So Samsung, Google, again, I don't know whose fault it is, but come on guys, I gotta get you to work together. That way we can go ahead and get support for the Google Assistant on the Galaxy Watch 4. So that's been my 3-month update using the Galaxy Watch 4, and I think the easiest way to put how I feel about this watch into, say, 1 or 2 sentences is gonna be this. Whenever I'm on an Android phone, regardless if it's a Samsung, whether it's Xiaomi, whether it's Google, no matter who the Android manufacturer is, this is the watch that's on my wrist currently. I have a TicWatch Pro 3, which is running Wear OS 2, and in my opinion, was the best Wear OS smartwatch you could get before this watch came out. But the Galaxy Watch 4 just takes Wear OS and even the hardware on the Wear OS side to a whole nother level. Getting things like wireless charging finally, a buttload of sensors and things like that to really help in terms with the fitness side of it. Samsung did a really great job with the Galaxy Watch 4. If they can nail those two areas that I stated earlier, I think that this watch would be, for my use case, pretty much perfect. But again, guys, like I said, this is all down to my usage. If you have a Galaxy Watch 4, let me know how you like it or dislike it. Tell me why in the comment section down below. But that's going to do it for the video today, guys. As always, this is Ike's Tech Talk. I will catch you all in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Peace out.